The Marine Corps requires leaders of all ranks to have a deep understanding of war and the employment of force. MCDP 1 reminds Marines that the military profession is a thinking profession. Every Marine is expected to be a student of the art and science of war. It goes on to say that every Marine has an individual responsibility to study the profession of arms. Self directed study in the art and science of war is at least equal in importance to maintaining physical condition and should receive at least equal time. The Marine Corps Association understands the critical importance of ensuring that Marines are as mentally ready for combat as they are physically ready. That is why we offer an entire page dedicated to wargaming on our website. We have recommendations for both tabletop board games as well as computer games. And for Marine Corps Association members, there is a discount code for War Game Design Studios that you can find on the website. War games are a great way to immerse yourself in history and to put yourself in the shoes of the great leaders of history. Go beyond guided instruction and experience the thrill of wargaming. Check us out at mca-marines.org/decision-making-exercises/wargaming-2. That's mca-marines.org/decision-making-exercises/wargaming-2. Take your training to the next level. Hey, Scuttlebutt listeners. Welcome to episode 212. This week, we welcome a saxophonist from the Marine Corps' President's Own band, Gunnery Sergeant Connor Mikula. This is a conversation we've been wanting to have for a while, so it's a real treat to have Gunny Mikula take time out of his busy schedule to come down and hang out with us. Gunny takes us through his journey to being a member of the President's Own, how the President's Own fits into the overall mission of the Marine Corps, and his experiences touring and performing at the White House and 8th and I. It was a lot of fun learning about this extremely niche organization within the Marine Corps and getting to see behind the curtain on the President's Own and what it's like to be a member of this elite musical organization. This is episode 212. Hey, Scuttlebutt listeners. Thank you for joining us and your continued support. I'm Vic. I'm here with Nancy.
Hey, Vic. I'm excited today. How about you?
Well, I mean, after just hearing some Stars and Stripes, I mean, how could you not be, like, really ready to
super motivated,
put your best foot forward today?
And also very excited because as a recovering band mom, I'm really excited about our guest, but also we've got this whole Midwest flavor to the podcast today.
Yeah, we really do. And as a recovering son of a musician, there's a lot. I think we were talking as we were prepping for the show that, you know, I could probably do a breakdown of like the entire Tool catalog when it comes to actual like classical music or more, pinky finger out genres of music. I'm a dullard. Like I wouldn't be able to tell you anything more than like, oh, hey, that's a saxophone or that's a xylophone or that's the trumpet or
well,
whatever.
Suze exciting, and it's my alarm clock every day, Stars and Stripes.
Oh,
Is
nice.
it really?
No, oh goodness.
Okay.
Yeah.
we believed you.
I love it.
Like, wow.
You
Okay.
totally got me on that. That's so great.
I love it, but not as my alarm clock.
No.
So we'll get into more of this later, but the interesting thing about Sousa, I didn't know much about him before joining the Marine Corps, and then really the only things that I know about Sousa's body of work have been stuff that we hear in parades and things, but it obviously is extremely like uplifting. It's got I think it's very intentional that to incite within the listener like a very sort of not a non-controversial response. Like everybody's kind of on board.
A feeling.
Yeah, the feeling of it, right?
Right. Marches were very much a purposeful music every time they were written. I mean, you don't really see new marches as much anymore, maybe fanfares for some things, but marches back then were for occasions. Many of Sousa's marches were for groups, for people. He wrote a march for the Interlochen Academy of the Arts up in northern Michigan, talking about the Midwestern theme that we have here.
Yeah.
He had a march that he wrote for a harmonica ensemble called the Harmonica Wizard.
I love it.
I need to look that one up later.
Oh, yeah.
Harmonica Wizard.
There's a video that accompanies that of him conducting like 8 children playing the harmonica.
That's so awesome.
I love it.
So, but and they were for these events and for these things. So it was always very purposeful, always with the idea of maybe not being background music, but sort of supporting and uplifting an event to kind of, as someone might say, curate the vibes, make it very uplifted, cheery, something like that.
Well, and like I mentioned earlier, I'm a band mom. Both of my sons were band or musicians in junior high and high school, middle school, and high school.
Did anyone ever use the term Bee Gees?
No.
Oh no, really? That might be a Cali thing then.
No.
Did you Bee Gees? No.
Band
the
groupies?
band.
The band geeks.
Oh, band geeks.
Yeah, the
No.
Bee Gees. Okay.
No, certainly not.
It's a badge of honor.
My youngest son was is still a huge fan of Sousa, and according to him, as he was constantly trying to educate his Luddite mother, so there was a little game on the way to school in the morning, like, Mom, what's the time signature of this? Like, I don't know. It's the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Why do I need to know that? And anyway, my point is that he always told me, I don't know if this is correct, that Sousa marches are much more at a different tempo and a little more uplifting than a traditional British march.
Mostly just the emphasis with most of Sousa's marches was moved not off of military purpose, but like kind of stepped that line between, military purpose and the people listening, like enjoyable music. After Sousa was our director, he was our director, the president's own director from 1880 to 1892. He started his own band, the Sousa Band, and that's where a lot of these marches were written, but they are a little bit faster. Some other march composers take that really far. If you listen to a Henry Fillmore march, like Rolling Thunder, that's fast. And that gets kind of into circus marches. And so there's the world of British military marches, which are kind of slow and boring, if I'm being honest. And
well, that was his point.
Much like the cuisine.
Yeah, and then Sousa rides that line. Yeah, Sousa rides that line perfectly between the two, I think.
I think now would probably be a good time to introduce this segue time.
Why this insight is so important, and why it is an expert sort of analysis and opinion, is that our guest today is Gunnery Sergeant Connor Mikula, who is a saxophonist with the President's Own, which is why he refers to Sousa as our band director, because in many ways he was your band director from an institutional standpoint.
Oh, so, and there's a statue of him right out front when I walk into work every day. There's a big Sousa statue, so he's part of our lives.
And my kids in their sort of music studies just learned about the sousaphone. Yeah, which. Do you know sousaphone?
I know what the sousaphone is.
But you know why it became a thing?
Because it's easier to carry when you're marching. I told you, I'm a band mom.
It also points the sound forward as opposed to just kind of up into the wherever.
Yeah. So cool. Well, Gunny, thank you so much for being here. We've actually wanted to do more of a deeper dive into the Marine Corps band and just Marine musicians for quite some time. So this is really a pleasure. So thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is awesome. So let's talk Midwest. So you're a Michigan.
Yes, I'm ready for this. I know how to have this conversation.
You're a Michigander.
Oh yeah, through and through. The great state of.
Yeah. I lived for about 8 years in Detroit growing up as a little guy before I reclaimed my Cali membership card. And then, obviously, we got the Cheesehead here at Nancy.
Born in Milwaukee, raised mostly in northern Wisconsin until my dad's military career took him back onto active duty. And then we were other places, but I still claim Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And as you could hear, by the way, I just pronounced that word. I still claim Wisconsin as my home, and I never stop saying things like fire instead of the way other people pronounce the word F-I-R-E.
I say like foyer sometimes, and my Midwestern accent peeks out sometimes too. My dad's got a pretty thick one.
Pretty heavy. I really tried to tamp it down because when I moved to Florida at age 11 and I was in the Panhandle, which is really lower Alabama, I could not understand the people there, and they could not understand me. And then I tried to, minimize it even further when I was taking broadcast journalism classes. But it's there. It's in me, and it's got to come out.
It's in the marrow.
Yeah.
Well, so Gunny, you are a Spartan Wolverine. What was your sort of path to the Yellow Footprints? Like, was the Marine Corps something that you'd always wanted to do, or just as a musician you saw a real opportunity in being a leatherneck?
Right. So what happened first was the musician part of me, and the Marine part kind of came later. I'd always loved music. I started taking piano lessons when I was 5 years old because I saw my mom playing piano, and I thought, I want to do that.
So your parents are musically inclined? I guess?
Yeah, my mom, played piano. My dad has a really good natural musical ear, and he actually played saxophone in high school and college in the Spartan marching band.
Oh, wow.
Actually, yeah.
Awesome.
So when it came time to have that big instrument band day where we all choose our instruments, I was like, I'm going to play the saxophone because my dad played the saxophone. And I practiced really hard at it because my older brother, he was always very smart. He's a physics professor in Ohio. And I wanted to be better than him at something. So I tried really hard to be good at the saxophone, and I started to get good. And then I thought, I could do this, for a living. And I don't want to say I had no idea what I was going to do with that. I wanted to be a saxophone professor, a teacher, a performer. It was kind of vague, but
Mhm.
the moment in all of my degrees where that kind of coalesced, I got some clarity in that was when I started to discover the military bands. And I remember my high school band director, shout out to Mike Hammond at West Ottawa High School. He's the best high school band director anyone could ever ask for. He would, hold up a CD, yeah, oh, it's 2025 now, it was 2000 back then. And he would say, these are the guys you got to listen to. This is the president's own best band in the world. Listen to this recording. And then, we would. And then I realized, oh, that's a band, that's a job you can have. And so I started to pay attention to the auditions, and when like the Pershing Zone, the Army band would have an audition. And I want to say lucked out at one point in my doctorate at Michigan State, a President's Own audition came up, and I thought, here we go. I've been in college for 9 years. Hopefully I'm good enough. I'm going to go and try one of these auditions. And I was definitely lucky enough to get it on my first try.
That's incredible.
That's so cool. And so and this is a world that I am not familiar with. My only real linkages to the band is one of my Marines was a flautist, which was interesting because he was a huge metalhead.
Oh, yeah.
But he played the flute and was tremendous.
And Jethro Tull.
What's that?
Jethro Tull.
What about him?
Wasn't there like a big flute solo in one of his songs?
Oh, God, I don't know his catalog well enough to say
All right, I'm going to look it up. Keep talking.
Yeah. The only obscure instrument I know of is Blue Oyster Cult and the cowbell. So,
we need more cowbell. Okay.
but so he ended up going with the 1st Marine Division Band.
Mm-hmm.
So I lost him. He was one of my my crewmen. I was really happy for him, really proud of him. And then I ended up seeing him a few months later in Iraq because for those who don't know, the band, as all Marines are riflemen, if you're not playing your instrument, you're holding a rifle, and they had camp security. They were our force protection security detachment at Camp Matilda in Kuwait before we went in. And so I saw him again. I was like, hey, what's going on, Devil? So anyways, could you talk a little bit about that whole like ascension process? Because I'd imagine it's very different from like, a young 17, 18-year-old kid that's like, I want to be a Marine, and then, goes to the recruiter.
It is. We have a saying in the Marine Band that we're sort of a unicorn in the Marine Corps, that our process is a little unique. So we have, the Marine Corps has fleet bands, Army has field bands. There are over 100 musical MOSs, or over 100 musical groups in the military. But there are these few select what we call premier bands, and every branch has their premier band or bands. Ours is the President's Own Marine Band. So how the joining process looks is we hold an audition, like a professional orchestra audition. So I'm just purely civilian in the middle of getting a college degree, and this is posted on, every single social media thing you could possibly imagine in the music world. And
they're holding these auditions all over the United States at music departments, or how?
So they hold them, the premier bands hold them in their
you're coming to them.
Yeah. So I came to DC.
Okay.
So I was in Michigan at the time, as I spent the first 26 years of my life. And so the President's Own had an audition. They posted it, and it's what we call a cattle call audition, which means anyone can come. Very proud of that, by the way. We have anyone come, even if you're not 18, you can, and eligible to join the military, you can come for the experience.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
We don't often get those, but it is available there. And because we want to be as inclusive as possible, cast the widest net possible. So prepared, 12, 13, 14 pages of music, excerpts, solos, things like that. Fly into DC and take the audition. On my audition day, I think there were 80 saxophonists from around the country trying to win the job.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it's really very...
From all walks of life.
Yes. Yeah. We had people there who were full-time college professors. We had freshmen from X university just, trying to get the experience. All walks of life, anyone top to bottom. And it's very competitive, like I said. And this was the first saxophonist opening in the President's Own for 5 years. So, and they're just hiring one.
Oh, man.
So after...
Not competitive at all, then.
Right, yeah. And so that 80 was cut down to 4 after the first round. And in our first round, I just need to make sure I mention it's a blind round. So there's this big curtain. And there's even like a carpeted walkway out to the stand, so we can't hear what sound your shoes make as you walk to the stand to play. And you'll play 3 excerpts, and then they'll say, "Oh, we need another one. We need another one." And then if you get a thank you after like 2 or 3 excerpts, well, maybe you're not going on to the next round. But I got through 5 excerpts. I was one of 4 out of the initial 80 to go on to the next round, which was held the next day in the same spot. And then the next round, those 4 were cut down to 2, and then the 2, I was lucky enough to be chosen as the one from there. Then you start the fun process of joining the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Yeah, after that, then you go to MEPS, then you meet with a recruiter, then you do all of the stuff to get you in.
And then what does that entail? So, I mean, you still, and I apologize for my ignorance, but I mean, you still have to go to Paris Island or MCRD San Diego?
So actually, us and the Coast Guard band are the only ones in the music military world that don't go to boot or basic training.
Okay.
But we do have our own, it's a in-house ceremonial sort of training, directly one-on-one with the assistant drum major. And this is because if you look at my chevron, there aren't crossed rifles there. It's a lyre. And that's because our military mission is literally just to provide music for the President of the United States and the Commandant of the Marine Corps. That's it.
Full stop.
So our mission has no combat training with it. It's literally only just music. So we do not go.
So that's how it varies then from the 1st Marine Division band, where they're pulling from existing Marines.
Right. So this is meant to be a performing ensemble, and a part of being a premier band is we come in at E6.
I see.
Which is mostly just to compete with the pay scale of a professional orchestra.
Sure.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And so we come in, we skip that, but again, we do have sometimes it's 1 or 2 months of training before we're put on jobs, because we're in close proximity to, VIPs.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
We're at the White House. The Commandant of the Marine Corps is right there. Like, you can see his house walking to get a donut or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, the Commandant doesn't eat donuts.
Oh, I'm not saying you'd see him there.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Oh, you're walking to get a donut.
oh yeah,
Okay.
But yeah, so we have to know how to act in these situations, how we act as the face of the Marine Corps, and how we do all this. So we do have a training. It's just combat training is not specifically part of it.
Does that ever get what's the word? Not old, but do you ever not get kind of excited when you see VIPs? Does it ever become mundane, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
This job is never mundane to me, but no, I mean, we see it's hard, I would say, to not, because, we're standing at attention. We have to follow all the same rules. We can't point and be like, whoa, that's,
of course.
Yeah. But you do kind of get that, like, oh, I just walked by Questlove. That's a famous drummer in the Roots. Yeah, ran into him at the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
That's awesome.
Or at that same event, White House Correspondents' Dinner, I was seated on the stage, and there was a row of empty chairs, 3 feet in front of me. And I think, oh, who's sitting there? I'm curious. It was then Vice President Kamala Harris. And so I just kind of thought, like, oh, I'm best behavior.
Yeah,
Decorum, stay focused, but there is that moment of, whoa, that's this person. Whoa, I know them from TV.
That's really neat. I love that idea of being in that environment, having it be normal, but it's still you're still enthusiastic about it. So I guess there's probably not a typical day, like you could say the average day of a member of the band.
I do get that question a lot. What's a typical day? What's a typical week, month? That's the neat part, is that there isn't. A typical year, I guess, is closer. We have certain things we do around certain times of year. So our concert season is in January, February, March, and bleeding into April, and we give concerts in the DC area that are just, free public attendance. Anyone can come to them. Doesn't...
Yeah, we went to one at Wolf Trap. I think it was for the holidays.
Oh, the Wolf Trap Summer Blast Off.
Yeah,
They call it. That is my favorite performing venue in the entire world.
Yeah,
I
it had
love
to
Wolf
have been
Trap.
summer because we were out. So
Memorial Day weekend, I
Yeah,
think, is when we
I
do
haven't
that.
seen that one. I'll make a note for next year. That sounds great.
Oh yeah, I love Wolf Trap. Favorite performance
It's
venue
such a
in the
great
world.
venue. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's a semi amphitheater.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you know it.
Oh, I've been there. I
Oh,
just
okay.
haven't been out to that particular Memorial Day event. That's what I'm saying.
But that's our concert season. Then once the summer starts, we do the sunset parades in Southeast DC at Marine Barracks, Washington, and that's every Friday. You know, there's a parade from May through August, and we do that. We do various ceremonies like, you know, full honors funerals in Arlington National Cemetery, other random concerts, events at the White House. Obviously, that's the biggest part of what we do.
Right.
Right now in the fall, we're preparing for tour,
Yeah.
which, you know, capital T, tour.
Right.
Yeah, no kidding. So you'd mentioned 28 concerts in 30 days. Is that the?
Yep, I leave on October 1st, and I get back right at the end of the month.
And I know every year you choose a different region where you guys do your tour. So where are you going to be this year?
This year we are touring the Southwest is what this sort of region is called. We have 5 regions, and this one's called Southwest. We're starting in DC. We're going down through Louisiana. We have a stop in New Orleans, which is going to be very fun.
Oh, that's a great music
Unbelievable.
city.
Oh, yeah. But a lot of our stops are going to be in Texas this year. We have a lot of Texas stops, stopping at some universities. I had talked to Preston Mitchell and saw the Texas Tech pennant in his little office region, and we're stopping in Lubbock, Texas. And
Nice.
so all of that information is available on our website, where we're stopping, what day, what venue, what time, all of that. But all the concerts are free, open to attend.
We'll put that in our show description so that people can reference that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Where are you guys finishing then?
Oh, our last concert. Forgive me, like you said, 28 performances in 30 days, 2 days off. It's somewhere in Texas. I think it's near Dallas. I would have to double check.
So you guys aren't hitting like Arizona, New Mexico, or anything like that. It's pretty much.
We do these loops.
Okay.
Yeah. So we hit, like when we go to the West Coast tour. We also just kind of do a diagonal across the United States. So on our last West Coast tour, we hit Colorado. I'm pretty sure. So that's just the vague location of where we're going to be at.
And not only is it great music, but I'm sure that these concerts are a tremendous recruiting opportunity, not just for the president's own, but for the entire Marine Corps.
Oh, yeah, actually, I have a story about that, if that's okay.
Yeah, please do.
It was one of my favorite memories being in the band. We were on the Midwest tour, so already off to a great start.
Yeah.
But we were in, I want to say it was South Dakota. South Dakota or Iowa, can't remember the specific city, but I remember the specific lady. She wanted to talk to a member of the band, and some of us will maybe unofficially talk with some of the members of the audience afterwards, go to the edge of the stage, talk, and she just started talking and said, "Oh, I'm sorry if I seem nervous. I've never met a Marine before." and I thought, whoa, I'm the first and only Marine this person has ever met. I am her idea of the Marine Corps right now. And that was kind of the moment that the idea of tour and the idea of us representing the Marine Corps kind of came to a head, where it's like we're out there being the face of the Marine Corps and representing, honor, courage, commitment, but in our form on stage and, with our dedication to our instrument. And that's really when I thought, not that I didn't take it seriously before, I've always taken it very seriously, but the context was given to why we take it seriously.
Yeah.
And then, that's great.
So, getting into what were talking about when we first kicked off is like that sort of, that feeling, that uplifting spirit that the Sousa stuff, I'm not sure if I'm using the right term, but the compositions that he put together that sort of bring this almost communal sense of upliftedness. I'm sure that serves a lot in that regard of, hey, not only are we now the face of the Marine Corps, but here's this music that's going to sort of capture that already that feeling of being around Marines. Now we're going to play this music that's really going to like sort of drive that. Is
Oh,
that
oh,
am I
oh yeah,
making
no,
sense?
we that's kind of the soul of our program, I'll
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
Every program this coming October opens with a march, usually a Sousa march. And every program also has America the Beautiful on it. Every program has Semper Fidelis, which
Nice.
I don't know, that's Sousa's march he wrote for the Marine Corps. That's the official march of the Marine Corps. And also, now just this tour, we have a piece called Esprit de Corps, which is like you said, a very uplifting sort of a march like that. And my favorite thing that we do on every concert tour performance is we play the Armed Forces medley, like a big, fun
Yeah.
transcription arrangement of it. And our vocalist that we bring on tour, it'll be Kevin Benier this year. He comes out on the microphone and says, "We ask that you please stand when your service song is played.
I love
If
that.
you know anyone who has served or a family member or you," so you have, people standing up in the audience, and the energy is just incredible. And we, of course, end with the Marines hymn. And I've seen, the country's best orchestras perform the biggest standard staples symphonies you've ever heard, and it never gets a response like that.
Yeah.
That's the response that I really like as a performer.
So good. Speaking of your performances, then, do you guys have? So I know. So you mentioned the evening parades on Fridays, and then the Drum and Bugle Corps does the Thursday evening. Tuesday evening.
They also
sorry.
do the Friday as well with us.
So yeah. So the Friday is everybody.
That's a big one.
The Drum and Bugle Corps does the Iwo Jima Memorial on Tuesday.
The Sunset Parade.
Sunset Parade, thank you. Are there any other sort of sub-genres within the President's Own? Like, do you guys have a jazz band or like any?
Yeah, we've got everything you could ever possibly imagine. I've played in Latin band, I've played in jazz band. We have a klezmer ensemble. We have a
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, we have a world music initiative to provide any sort of genre flavor of music that the White House might need.
No way, and it's all President's Own.
It's all President's Own. We have a clarinetist who plays accordion. We have a saxophonist who plays double bass, Jacob Schmara. Master Sergeant Schmara, he plays double bass too, and so that's used on a lot of things. Like I said, big band, saxophone quartet. We have a chamber orchestra. We have strings, which is actually fairly unique in military music.
Yeah.
So just we had a polka band that we sent to the White House.
No,
oh, that's
fun. Yeah.
And how do you guys like? Are these already like established sort of units within the President's Own, or are you guys just sort of like? It's like an ad hoc thing, like, hey, who knows how to play this stuff, and then you guys piecemeal it together like the A team or something.
It starts with the talent that we have, and we think, oh, Russell plays accordion. Oh, that's pretty cool. What can we do with accordion? We don't ask the band, hey, who plays accordion? We have, someone who plays harmonica. Then we can think of something for them to do with that. We have a saxophonist who doubles on flute and clarinet. Oh, well, now we can do these big band charts that have that. So we kind of start from the talent and build outward, and
cool.
Turns out my colleagues are very talented. I only play saxophone. Unfortunately, they've got me self-conscious, but yeah, we kind of build out from there.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That is so cool.
Yeah, how do I get to hear the klezmer band? Let me know.
I'll let you know the next time they have a performance.
That's cool.
And then what do you guys consume sort of recreationally then? Like
ooh, good question.
Yeah. I've always wondered, like, I mean, are you guys like? And I know this isn't, but sort of I guess the stereotype it would be that because you play March, Sousa things, that's also what you listen to on your like sort of off times. Like what kind of like does it span the gamut, or is everybody pretty refined in their music?
Now, would anyone believe me if I said that I have an iPod filled with nothing but Sousa marches?
Well, you had us with the alarm clock thing.
I don't know where you...
No, that's another joke. No, of course I do love Sousa marches, but
Please tell me you
This
don't
is-
listen to that in your free time all the time.
No. So
Okay.
this is actually a very interesting. It's different from musician to musician. I always have kind of kept this separation between my personal and work life. Not
Yeah,
that they're
yeah.
totally separate, because being in the band, being a Marine is part of who I am. But when I go home, I generally don't listen to Sousa marches or Mahler symphonies, for that matter. Anything sort of that someone might label as classical music.
Right.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of. You had mentioned your metalhead friend before. I listen to some metal music. I enjoy some newer, I guess we could call it like indie bands. It's kind of
Okay.
a broad label. If I'm shouting any particular one out, Tally Hall. They're from Ann Arbor, Michigan.
All right.
And they're a great band.
I'm gonna write that down.
Oh yeah, I needed their first album, Marvin's Marvelous Mechanical Museum. That's a tourist trap in Michigan. Also, wouldn't even call it a tourist trap. It's just an incredible
Place to go,
experience
yeah.
that you can bring. That's good for the whole family. But yeah, so I listen to things like that.
So as you guys are sort of enjoying music recreationally, it sort of spans the gamut. Like, yeah, it's I don't know why that's fascinating. to
Some
me,
people do, though, go home and listen to Mahler symphonies, and that's their whole life. They eat, breathe, sleep
but, okay,
music, and that's great. Like, it's however each
right.
musician can engage with what they do for a living and what they love and not get burnt out.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
and it's almost like what we were talking about in the episode we recorded yesterday regarding reading. And when we were talking to a novelist yesterday and his use of fiction and all of that. And, we had a little bit of a discussion about how I read nonfiction Marine Corps stories for a living. And not that I don't enjoy doing that at home, but sometimes I need to break from that. And so, in fact, very often I need to break from that. Or you do get, I don't want to say burned out, but it feels like always working. It ceases to be something that brings me joy.
Burnout is a real issue to look out for in any art world. Musicians especially, just because how most people start being a music major is they love music. I can make a living with this. And then there comes this time where it's like, no, music is also your job. If you're not inspired to practice that day, sorry,
You have to do
Yeah.
it
you have to
anyway.
practice. It's your job. So there are different strategies that we all develop to kind of avoid that. And part of it is not listening to Sousa marches at home all the time. I will say I sometimes will kind of do some dishes listening to some Sousa marches,
Maybe
and
that will help me.
Yeah, no, I need to maybe incorporate more of that.
it drives my wife a little bit crazy, actually, because I'll be
I don't know
whistling
why.
something. I'm not about to whistle into this microphone and, deafen all your listeners, but I'll be whistling a Sousa march, and she'll just say, "No, thank you." And that's kind of our, I realize you're not doing this on purpose, but I need you to stop, keyword.
That's awesome. What about in the way that you consume? So as a pseudo literary artist, I found that I don't enjoy entertainment storytelling in the same way that I did before I went to school to analyze the structure of a story and how a story is built and how a story is told. I have some favorites from when I was a kid, and I've gone back to watch them. I'm like, God, that's really pretty awful storytelling. Or read a book that I liked a lot when I was growing up, and now realizing that it's got a lot of holes in it. Is it similar for you? Like when do you overanalyze music, or can you turn that off and just enjoy the experience?
I can turn that off. It is an active decision, I would say.
Okay.
Because, my instinct is to hear oh, this song is, 2 chords. Cool. Okay. And,
Yeah.
and that's my instinct. And I have to go, no, Connor, don't be a snobby musician. Just listen to the song. But yeah, it's hard to turn that off sometimes. And I always make sure I say, I don't dislike popular music. I love popular music, and it's not lesser because it's more simple in certain ways. I mean, the music production with popular music is off the charts complicated.
Right.
But I mean, marches used to be the same way. When marches were being written, they were less complicated, but in a more deliverable vessel to
Easier to consume.
Easier to consume. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so pop music is just that. And that's an art in and of itself. Just because you don't need a master's in music theory to understand it doesn't make it any worse.
Yeah,
You know, just being complicated doesn't automatically mean something's better.
No, that's a good point. We were talking about one of my recent favorite things. I know I'm coming late to the game, such as the mores of being old, but reaction videos I think are hilarious. And my favorite band is Tool. And I love watching the reaction videos of like professional musicians and music theorists listening to Tool and sort of breaking that stigma that a band that's labeled as heavy metal or whatever, they're just sort of slapping their instruments around in unison. And so one of them was a music professor was like, oh my God, is that the Fibonacci sequence? Like as they're listening to this stuff. And so I always find that it always gives me a chuckle.
Oh, yeah. And I took a class during my doctorate of musical arts that was just a 3-hour class on Wednesday nights about rhythm and meter. That's it. Just 3 hours about the theory behind time in music. And
that's cool.
Oh,
so cool.
That shout out to Dr. Callahan. It was probably the most useful. They were all useful, but the class that informed my performing the most out of any class I've ever taken. And we talked about Meshuggah a lot, which is a metal band.
Mm-hmm. I know Meshuggah.
Yeah, and they do a lot of crazy stuff with time signatures. That is, I mean,
there's a band called Meshuggah.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I gotta look that up too.
And let's just say, if we're talking complicated, we were breaking it down as doctoral candidates at a music school, and it was hard.
That's awesome. I guess going back, I want to dive a little bit more into what it is to be a part of the President's Own. So you said that one of the things about the musicians of the President's Own is you guys start as E6s to stay competitive with the professional music world.
Right.
What is the promotion process like for you?
For us, promotions are in-house.
Okay.
So our MOS is entirely at Marine Barracks Annex, and we have a certain number of billets for a certain number of ranks, and it just kind of happens like that. Obviously, our duty is our primary billet responsibility is music, but there are other opportunities for us to volunteer.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'm allowed to do this and plug the Marine Bands podcast on this podcast.
Of course.
Please
We'll
do.
put that in the show description as well. Yeah.
If anyone's not sick of hearing my voice in their ears already, I'm the host of that. And we break down some more, we get more into the weeds of the musical side. We'll talk about, we have a whole episode about dealing with burnout.
Okay.
We have a whole episode about how to process rhythm. That's a little, music nerdy, but it's there. And we also have these episodes that are my musical journey, which is just talking about people in the band. But sorry, plug over.
No, I love that. That's
please.
great.
That's
Please
awesome.
do.
So cool.
Yeah, so promotions for us happen in-house. Our performing musicians, E9, highest rank. We don't commission or anything unless we become one of our 5 officers that we have in the band, 3 of which are conducting officers.
Okay.
And that's what is that commissioning considered? Is that like a MCP or ECP?
So we look for our conducting officers within the President's Own, actually. Almost everything we do is in-house. The first ever director of the President's Own, one of our conducting officers, one of our directors, the first ever one that was not taken from within the ranks of the band was actually Captain Sherlock about, I think this was 7 or 8 years ago, so very recently. And now we have Lieutenant Taranzo, who was one of our directors of the band, and he was taken from the Fleet program, which is excellent. We love him. We're very excited about him. But yeah, you just become an officer there at Marine Barracks Annex, and I'm not as familiar with that because I'm not one of the conducting officers, but there's a whole process for it. But again, it's mostly in-house.
So would that be like, essentially one day he's a gunnery sergeant, trumpet player, and the next day he's a...
From my perspective on the enlisted side, that's how it appears.
Okay.
I'm sure there's more things happening behind the scenes that I don't know, but that's how it appears from my side is Captain Darren Lynn, one of our other conducting officers, was a percussionist. He was Staff Sergeant Lynn, and he was playing in the percussion section, and then the next day he's, Lieutenant Lynn.
Yeah.
And so that's just...
Oh, interesting. And then, so are you competing against other saxophonists? Like, because you mentioned the MOSs. For your promotion, are you just competing against other saxophonists, or are you competing against essentially the entire band?
It's the
For-
the entire band, and also the what we call the support staff, our recording lab, our library. We actually have the largest classical music library in the country, with an asterisk. Interlochen in northern Michigan. Also, we kind of trade on and
We
off
warned
with
you,
them.
listeners.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm holding back all of the Michigan love here. So
Good.
but we have yeah, so it's all of that. That's the whole pool there. And
Okay.
I know this is a little cheesy, but I want to go back to the word compete.
Yeah.
I know that's technically the correct word, but it's very much, that's not the case at the President's Zone. We are in technically competing against each other for the promotions, but it's very much music first, process first, band first. Like, no one is doing things like, I'm going to host this podcast so I can get promoted.
Yeah, no,
yeah,
I mean
yeah.
it's the same in the fleet. You know,
Yeah,
you've got,
of course,
you
of
know,
course.
like you see, you've got your pool of like I'm an Amtracker, so I mean you got a pool of staff sergeant Amtrackers.
Mhm.
Of course, they want to be gunnery sergeants, but they want to accomplish the mission first. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's a very cooperative thing, and we're all very happy when like someone get
Yeah.
hey, we had 10 staff sergeants, now we have 7 gunnery sergeants. Fuck yeah, yes, you guys,
Mhm.
the other 3, don't suck. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that's really cool. Yeah, these are looks behind the curtain that I had really no idea, other than really just enjoying all of the performances that I was able to participate in. Going back to your mentioning about Questlove and the VIP stuff, do
Yes.
you guys ever get to do jam sessions with any musician VIPs?
When there's specific when there's specific jobs for that.
Oh, okay.
I don't, when I saw Questlove, I didn't go, "Whoa, you're Quest." I stayed, official, and just kind of clocked it in the back of my mind, like, "Oh, I'm a big fan of you."
But he's not gonna, like, if he came over and like, hey, let's jam. You guys wouldn't be able to like.
Well, I mean, it depends on the setting,
Okay.
but usually no.
Okay.
But no, we have interacted with celebrity musicians. We played the national anthem with Lady Gaga once.
Oh, no way!
really?
Yeah, and that was the one for. Oh, forgive me. I forget if it was a Super Bowl opening or if it was it was something, but
Okay.
she did it in 4/4 instead of 3/4. And that was like a big buzz in the music world. Like, whoa, did you hear she changed the time signature of the national anthem? Is that why it sounded weird? Oh, this and that. And, I was just sitting there thinking like, oh, we did that. That's pretty cool. I know some of our members have interacted with players on the Washington Nationals before, because we've gone and played the national anthem, marched right out to center field, which was very cool. We did that for a playoff game.
That's amazing.
I think we lost to the Dodgers like 12-1, and we haven't been asked back since.
Oh,
So it was
okay.
us.
So it was your fault.
All our fault.
Extremely
All our fault.
superstitious.
Yeah.
'Cause I do remember that game. So okay.
Yeah, but and
Thanks.
then so just we do have interactions. Obviously, the quote celebrities have to engage us. We're not going up and talking to them, but
Right.
we do have. There are opportunities and things that come up where we get to interact with all of these people.
It's really I gotta wonder what goes through a popular musician's mind when you see famous classical musicians.
I don't know.
Yeah, I've wondered. That's,
I think if they recognized even a single one of us, I would be beyond thrilled.
well, I mean, but just the fact that, like, as a group, like as a whole oneness of the president's own, like
Right. Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah, sort of thing. Like, oh, look at those guys. Well, that's
We
pretty
do get
badass.
we do get acknowledgments. I think it was when excuse me, the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl. They came and visited the White House, and one of the players, I can't remember who, that's going to kill me, but they came over and talked to the band. We were just off to the side on the White House lawn, and they came over and said, oh, I played saxophone in high school. I
I was
did
going to
this."
say it might be
Yeah.
Gronk, but now that you said he played
No.
music, probably not.
No, and I've never met Jason Kelsey, but he famously played saxophone a
Oh,
lot. And
yeah.
he talks like, oh, me being in marching band prepared me for the a drive I needed in the NFL. And I mean, I think that's a bit of a stretch, but I appreciate it. If you know.
I don't know. Maybe his band director was more like the band director from Whiplash.
Oh goodness, Whiplash. Yeah, that movie.
So
Oh, that movie.
I will say,
Yeah.
as someone from the, I went into advanced music school, got my doctorate, all of that stuff. The movie is obviously over dramatized.
you think so?
Yeah, right. But not
That much.
So the whole scene where he's like, "Were you sharp or were you flat?" Like someone hit me with that when I was in high school once, but in a very nice way. A professor of saxophone in the state of Michigan, Connor, were you sharp or flat? And I was playing soprano at one time. I go, I think I might have been a little sharp. And he goes, well, no, you were in tune, but you should probably know that. And then that was it. But I just thought it was funny. I saw that scene where he's, screaming at everyone. I'm like, oh, that happened, but with no screaming or, no one's throwing a cymbal at my head or anything like that.
I had a band director in junior high, full confession, who used to throw erasers at us. And
Pencil erasers or the chalkboard
no,
ones?
blackboard erasers. If anybody out there actually knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, he would throw erasers at us, and he actually enjoyed humiliating.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
I left the band after 1 year.
Was
so
his
that
last
I could,
name Dream Killer?
Yeah, maybe. I left to pursue a yearbook and newspaper, and here I am now. So,
Nice.
but my boys only had band directors who I had so much respect for, and
Well, you'd mentioned that
Yeah.
he was one of the few adults that they
Yeah,
actually listened to.
he was
right?
a great mentor to all the kids, and I was always so impressed with just how much he cared about about the kids and about music, and opening up for them what music means to the rest of your life, and to being educated, and how to consider music, especially for the kids first learning an instrument in middle school. Like, okay, take a break from algebra and go play, and then go back to the algebra, and you'll see that it makes a little more sense. Or I don't know if I'm talking crazy or what.
No,
but
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that the band actually, anytime I say the band, I mean the President's
Right.
Own. Sorry, bad habit.
no, it's the band.
Yeah, it's
We have a huge educational outreach program, massive. And it's really important, like you said, when you're representing not just yourself, the Marine Corps, you're representing music to these students. And if you come in there and go, oh, a half note that's a good note. I really like that. And you have to be excited about what you're representing. And like when anyone's learning anything, especially music, if the person teaching you is enthusiastic, engaging, holds attention, treats their students with respect, that really, motivates them and grabs them. So yeah, our Myths and Myths program, music in the schools and music in the high schools, we do, I think it's hundreds of classes each year. Just in
That's
the
awesome.
6-7 years that I've been in the band, my individual clinic count, I think, just recently hit triple digits.
Wow.
Oh, very cool.
Educating is a huge passion of mine. Before I joined the band and started to shift over to the performing side, I wanted to be a saxophone professor. I wanted to teach collegiately.
Nice.
And so the band offers me the opportunity to still do that and use my skills to do outreaches. And, I've taught at random high schools in the corners of any state. And I've also, done a saxophone clinic at Northwestern University, which is one of the big saxophone schools in the
okay.
country, and things like that. So I'm grateful to the band that we have that education aspect too.
And would that be TAD for you guys? Is that
Yes.
how that works? That's awesome. That's really cool. That is a Marine Corps endorsed program. It's not just you guys coming up with it and like, hey, can I get
Right.
TAD orders to go to Northwestern?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So
That's awesome.
When it comes to playing, do you have a particular favorite song or genre of music to play personally?
okay. Oh man, this is cheesy. We were talking about not listening to Susan in our free time, but my favorite thing to play with the band is Stars and Stripes.
Yes.
And there's a reason for that.
Why? I was going to
You're
ask
right,
why.
yeah. As a performer, some performers get their energy from the pieces they're playing. I get my sort of engagement from the audience. And when we go on tour and we play, dun 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 dun, dun you get people who stand up out of their chairs and cheer. That's some great energy, and I love that. I love playing that because they love hearing it. So that's my favorite thing to play there. For me personally, just super selfishly, I have to admit, enjoy the attention of being the soloist. So I was
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
I have to admit that about myself. So I was able to play. It's called Escapades, and it's a piece for alto saxophone, vibraphone soloists in front of the band, and we did this on the Midwest tour. So for 10 of our performances out of our 29 performances on the Midwest tour, I was a soloist for one piece. And that piece is actually written by John Williams, because it's the soundtrack for the movie Catch Me If You Can.
Oh.
Yeah, and so he didn't write it as a saxophone concerto, but it was quickly flipped around into a saxophone concerto. So I like to say, oh, saxophone has a piece written for us by John Williams, asterisk.
Yeah.
If people somehow aren't familiar with John Williams, he wrote movie soundtracks to some really small indie flicks you've probably never heard of.
Right.
Star
Star
Wars,
Wars.
Yeah.
Harry Potter, Jaws,
Raiders of
Indiana
the Lost Ark.
Yeah, just everything. Actually, the man with the most Grammy nominations alive. He's very
John
close to Walt
Williams.
Disney.
Wow.
It's 40 something, I think.
I think it was. Now I'm trying a core memory unlocked. I think maybe about 15 years ago. Did he not come and conduct? It was at the Kennedy Center.
You're reading my mind. You're getting to that next step, because so I've always loved John Williams' music. So getting to play his music on tour is like my personal favorite selfish thing as a composer. The President's Own actually enjoys a close personal connection with John Williams. He's come out, and Maestro Williams has conducted us on several occasions. Most recently, I was lucky enough to be in that concert, and it was at the
That's
Kennedy
awesome.
Center. It was I want to say it was 2 or 3 years ago. Again, I'd have to check my dates on that. It's hard to keep track of that, but oh man, talk about a good reception from the audience. I kind of locked into, it was like a mother and her daughter near the front row, and every time we started a piece, dun, 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 they push each other, go, that's this, that's this, that's this. And just to have John Williams up there conducting us, oh,
Man,
it was one of the coolest things.
That's awesome. I mean, I can't imagine. It'd be like for a football player, like, oh, I got to run routes with
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady or
Yeah.
something.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
the event I attended, again, it was quite a few years ago, but as I recall, John Williams explained how he composes for movies, and threw up on the screen a scene from one of the Raiders of the Lost Ark movies with no music, and he kind of talked the audience through it, and then replayed the scene again with the music, and that was pretty cool.
That was
very cool.
He told us actually I won't say funny, but a great story about that, working with Steven Spielberg, the music for Schindler's List. Very emotional, one of his best, I don't want to say underrated scores because people know it, but everyone knows Star Wars, but listen to that score.
It's beautiful music.
And the way he told it, Steven Spielberg had showed him like a rough cut of the movie before he wrote the music, and they're both weeping after it. It's a very emotional movie. And John Williams said, I turned to Steven and said, I'm not good enough to write a score for this. And apparently Steven Spielberg said back, I know, because they're all dead, meaning the greats, the classics. So Steven Spielberg kind of put John Williams up there with the names like Mozart and Beethoven and things like that. So I just thought it was a very interesting insight into that movie making process, like you mentioned.
Yeah. Wow, that's neat.
On that note, then.
On that note.
Oh, I didn't even. I'm so good at just.
You are so
it
good.
Flows
Yeah.
from the pores. What has being a Marine changed, if anything, about your music? Like the way you consume it, the way you play it, how you view music. Like
it's really kind of contextualized what I do in such a great way and given me so much purpose that I'm just so grateful to the Marine Corps for. Honestly, saxophone isn't in professional orchestra. We were an instrument invented in the 1840s, and so that was way after orchestra, so we kind of didn't belong there in like the classical world's biggest institution, but we belong in bands, and the Marine Corps uses bands for some of the most important occasions. So we're playing America's soundtrack on the White House lawn while a bill is getting signed or a speech is getting, and so just to kind of have this purpose to my music is something that has really sort of made me take it more seriously. Again, not that I wasn't taking it
Yeah.
seriously before, but it just kind of shows the power in music. That shows the power that music has. I think the Marine Corps uses that incredibly well, and even not even just when the spotlights are all on. You know, when we're there in Arlington National Cemetery doing a funeral, sometimes we're playing the body in and out, and there's no one there. It's just us. But that's important. That's just as important as playing John Williams to a sold-out Kennedy Center.
Yeah.
And so to have this purpose, to have this place where I belong because of the Marine Corps, I couldn't be more thankful as a musician for that.
And because you had an entire life of music before becoming a Marine, can you look back and go, like, can you see the phases of your life through your music? And like, is there a delineation in the, here's Connor as musician, here's Connor as Marine musician? Like, is there that sort of bifurcation, or was it more like an evolutionary process?
I'd say I always from day one kind of put the dedication behind my music that I have today. I would say that hasn't changed.
Your approach hasn't changed.
My approach hasn't changed in how I prepare and how I'm present myself as a musician and a Marine. But what has changed is sort of what I value in music, I would say. In grad school, and this is an important sort of growing pain for every grad student, is to work on just a wicked hard piece that's a bunch of clicks and whistles, it's contemporary music, and then to have your mom afterwards go, well, I'm happy for you, but I didn't really get it. And then there's 8 people in the audience. And then you go and you play Stars and Stripes, and people lose their minds in a good way. And you play Eternal Father at these funerals, and just, that's not this crazy hard Bolcom's Lilith piece, which that's a deep cut for the saxophonist listening right now. But it's not that, but it's just, that's okay. This music has the purpose. So it's really just contextualized my work, and if anything, given me more direction and drive.
Yeah.
But I would say from the beginning, I've always prepared the same way.
Awesome. Well, what's next for you? What's sort of the future for? I mean, is Master Sergeant?
I certainly hope that's on the table.
Yeah.
Of course. I'm gonna be in the band until I physically can't do it or they kick me out.
Okay.
I'm not going anywhere. This is my dream job. This is where I belong. It's where I'm supposed to be.
Awesome.
I believe I have the
love
best
that.
job in the world, and I hope everyone believes that about their jobs. But just in the near future, we're going on this tour to, I keep calling it the Texas tour just because most of the stops are in Texas, but it's the Southwest
Texas is
tour.
a big state.
So if you live anywhere southwest of DC, because again, we're driving a bus out from DC, we're not starting in Texas. Yeah.
Oh, you're driving.
Oh, yeah, tour is its whole sort of ecosystem of our job. It's its own separate thing. But so, I think we're giving a performance near in North Carolina, I believe.
Okay.
Again, check the tour description to make sure I just pulled that correctly from my head. But that's what's coming up next. We're preparing for that. This coming Wednesday, we're starting tour rehearsals, and it's every day hitting this music really hard until we leave on that bus. So
so our timing was good to bring you in here before instead of when you're in the thick of all that.
Yeah, in the midst of it. Yeah.
So-
Oh yeah, great time. Yeah, next week would have been the scheduling would have been a little rockier.
A little sticky. And so I think, just for listeners, I'm fairly certain the October issue of Leatherneck has links to the website and the tour schedule and everything. But if you wouldn't mind just saying it here where people can go to learn
we'll
more.
put it in the show
and we will
description.
put it in the notes too.
Right. Our URL is marineband.marines.mil, has all of the information for our concert tour about us. You can read our bios, look at our fancy pictures and all of that, and you can figure out when we're coming to a town near you.
Exciting.
Awesome. You want to ask the?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So what's been your best day in the President's Own so far?
The best day. It was actually, I alluded to it before, it was marching out to center field at Nats Stadium and playing the national anthem for a playoff game. And then we got to stay and watch the game. And the game was not great. Like, again, we got blown out, but that was just selfishly, that was really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially I mean, the way the Nats are playing as of late, I mean, for you guys to be in a playoff game,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of
It
people
seems
that
like
can
a
say-
fantasy.
Yeah, there's
that-
not a lot of people that
Science
can make
fiction.
That was my first. Sorry, again, I have to give a quick story about this.
Yeah,
And
please do.
I moved to DC, and I'm a huge Michigan sports fan. The best day in my band in the future is when Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions visit the White House because they have
Okay.
won the Super Bowl.
All right.
But I got there and I thought, man, I root for the Pistons, the Lions, the Red Wings. The only sport I really don't engage with is baseball, so I'm going to root for the local baseball team. That's going to be my connection to the city. Okay, let's see. The Washington Nationals, they're 19-31. Oh, they must not be very good. It was the year they turned it around and won the World
That was
Series.
such a great year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had just come back from overseas, so it was nuts to see that.
Such a great year.
Well, Gunny, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story with us. I think this was everything that I'd hoped it would be to get a
Yes.
sort of deeper dive into the president's own.
Well, before you finish,
Yeah.
quick thing. When I pitched the idea of having someone from the band come on the podcast, I got ready with a whole, like, here's why I think it's important. Here's what we really should do this. Because I don't know why. I kind of thought you might say, I don't really want to do that. And your response to me was, oh my gosh, yeah, that would be great. I've been wanting to do that for a long time. Like, we both had been thinking it,
Yeah.
never said it. So we were both,
This is a real treat.
Yeah,
a real
really
treat, especially
excited to have
for a
you here.
Friday. And yeah, thank you again so much for sharing your story with us, giving us some insight into what the president's own is all about and all that stuff. And we're going to go ahead and we'll play out.
play out with
ourselves out on the president's own Marines hymn. And so if you're not driving, get off your face. If you're a Marine and you're not driving, get up off your feet and stand at attention. If you are driving, pull over, man. You can't miss this opportunities. But thank you again so much for being here. And
Thank you so
all
much
our
for having
listeners
me.
for engaging with this. Scuttlebutt is a production of the Marine Corps Association. You have heard the voices or contributions from Major Vic Rubel, USMC retired, Nancy Lichman, William Truding, and our guest. Ty Frazier is the editor, sound engineer, and technical producer. The Marine Corps Association is not an agency of the U.S. government. The opinions expressed in this episode are the personal views of the participants and do not reflect the official position of the United States Marine Corps, the Department of Defense, or the Marine Corps Association.